Right, hello everybody and welcome to FRL's Super Sprint Sunday. We are now at season 16, would you believe it? This is your second round of the championship. I'm Rufafa, otherwise known as Greg, and my commentating buddy is back once again. Introduce yourself, my mate.
I am not your host, Retro Ghost. I am the OAP with no technology, because apparently I can't join a server properly, so we're a little bit behind tonight, guys, so bear with us on the stream, just up my race pace. We're slow and steady, but we will win the race for the commentary tonight. We are at round 2, Paul Ricard. I don't think this is quite Ufafa's favourite because he lacks the speed down the straight or maybe the ability in the corners, but we're going to go with it for an absolute sprint Sunday, 20-minute race 1 with a one-shot quali to begin, 20-minute race 1 and then a 20-minute qualifying for race 2, which is 40 minutes. So once race 1 has finished, do not go anywhere, buckle up, get some snacks, tell your friends, tell someone you love, tell someone you hate. FRL is the place to be.
Absolutely. And if you're new to the stream, pop on the Absolutely Bingo. I've got a tendency to say it. So if you've got a shot to pour, you've got a friend to flick in the ear, make sure you get the you get the Absolutely Bingo on the roll. As Retro does. And if you hear anything about sandcastles, you shouldn't say there is no gravel around here. Grab one for Retro as well. So yeah, round 2 of season 16. We've been here a few times, haven't we? Paul Ricard is looks mostly like just like a testing facility, but they do race around it. Slightly different format to Formula One. They have taken out the chicane in the middle of the straight. What would be turns 8 and 9 is now flat out straight, and the fast right at the end now becomes turn 8, where we suspect a lot of overtakes will be made. So it's a tricky and technical circuit. Obviously, we do need that top line speed as well. As we do pop straight into qualifying. You'll have to bear with us. One stop quali is not easy to stay on top of, as the driver's basically only going to get one lap. We always like to stick with the first driver out of the box, and as soon as we identify who that is, we'll get right with them. That would be 737, but who's in front of them? That car number 11. It is. And that is Travaglioli from Virtual Pro Racing. As you may have noticed, this is something new that we're putting on the server this evening. So for the drivers that do engage in team-based racing in Assetto Corsa Competizione, you can now include your team name in what appears on the screen, and also we'll try and mention it throughout the stream tonight as well. So the S is a one-shot quali. If you're familiar with more traditional qualifying formats, it's only really enforced by the time in the session. You only really got time for one out lap, and then a push lap, and then a round, and you're then allowed to draw into the pit. So you're not to set double out laps. The drivers are permitted that if they do in fact ruin their first lap, they can quickly return to pits and do another out lap. There is just about enough time for that. But we have this evening 33 drivers all ready and raring to put their fastest foot forward and power around Paul Ricard.
And so just whilst we are waiting for the Ferrari to make his way to the start line, also guys, we are a little bit behind tonight. We didn't have a chance to go through the standings. But all the drivers on the left-hand side with a white box is in the Pro tier. And obviously all the guys with a slightly greyed or silver box on the left-hand side is the Silver tier. And the red boxes are the Am tier. So guys, do let us know who you're rooting for, who's your fan favourites. Drop them in the comments, subscribe, and obviously smash that like button.
So, as the Retro just said, we're going to start off with the Pro tier. And Travaglioli has powered through turns 1 and 2, kept a nice steady throttle throughout, slight dab of brakes. Arc the car over to the left before you enter turn 3 and 4 chicane. Really slowing down here. You can choose to swing it out right and then swing it back left, or you can try and straight line it to the corner. It's up to you, up to the setup of your car, up to the strengths of your car as well. There's another corner here, turn 6 and 7. You can take it quite arching, or you can take it quite tight and then power out down the back straight. The cars down here will be reaching approximate top speed depending on how much wing they've set. It's not exactly straight. They will have to swing back over to the left hand side and then carry as much speed through turn 8 as you dare. So any cars here that maybe pick up a little bit of slipstream, that will play into their hands. Travangelione, who we are covering, won't have any such benefit unless he picks up some ultimately lapping traffic. So it's quite a wide line through turn 9. But down the hill he goes into the very, very tricky turn 12. Go really wide, or you can hug it slightly, but then power out on the exit as soon as possible. There's a lot of curves you can use on the outside there. Keep it hugged all the way to the right. Carry a lot of speed through here, but you want to get back over to the left as quickly as possible. So you want to be able to brake in a straight line. Roll the car in, and then power out up towards start, finish line. Wave to your teammates in the pits. He's going to start us off with a 1:53.8. Other cars coming towards the line. We've got car 14, that's M. Grace in the BMW. What's he going to do? Puts themselves P3. The valid cars. We've got car number 71. That is Van der Waal. As he gets a little bit of a snap on the rear, locks his brakes slightly, but does get the car turned all the same. Keeps it just about in track limits on the outside. We suspect he's going to put himself fairly high up here. So what's Van der Waal going to do? Puts himself P10. Car 666. And this is Dreadlock Steve. A bit more composed than Van der Waal was in the McLaren, but takes a hell of a lot of curbing on entry into the final corner. Hope that's not unsettled him as he powers towards the line and puts himself in P18. But car number 10, that is Mr. Brown in the NSX, as Townsend informs us that he invalidated. Oh no. G. Brown in the Honda from P27 all the way up to P6. Got car 114. This is Vermeulen. Is he pushing still, or is he just doing an in-lap? I thought this was one-shot quali.
Well, I don't know. You're a stickler for the rules. Miss the speed into the pit lane. I'm sure you won't turn a blind eye to someone cheating the rules.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a hell of an accusation to turn up here. I would like to put out a defence for myself that the pit system works on a speed average.
It does not.
It does.
It doesn't.
It is almost impossible to work out speed without a 2-point measurement. As we go to car number 37, who is coming around. I was just trying to find them right now. We've got a little bit of time before they come towards the line. Oh, they have bipped out. The car 888. And this is Leica. In his pink and white Aston Martin, who's shown that he's got a lot of speed in the tank in his few races at FRL Super Sprint Sunday. Now you get pretty lucky if you draw a 888 in Vegas, but what about in Paul Ricard? Can he do anything to challenge his other pro tier drivers towards the top?
Well, I think maybe Leica has taken a leaf out of last season from Donington. If some of our viewers from last season remember, Leica went out first and met an absolute double whammy bus stop parallel park the whole way. He does go P3 there, Leica. Really good lap from him.
So yeah, just waiting for a bit of clear track really served Leica well there. So it looks like, in the one-shot quali at least, that a lot of the AM drivers elected not to set their laps. Clearly, in the pressure situation, without a few extra laps, it does seem that the pro tier does have a bit of an advantage over the silver tier. That's where the experience comes in, what you can and can't do on a push lap. As we saw, Dazza Townsend who we find down here in P29 in the AM tier, he invalidated his lap, so unable to actually set one in the one-shot quali. But for pole race one, are we surprised? Jazzman, Mr. Vermeulen from Apex Online Racing, he is P1, leads the pack by 0.1 seconds over Trevigioli from Virtual Pro Racing and Leica in P3. A little bit further back, we've got Melotti, then M. Grace from Red Light Racing, Nichelle with 1.1 down, closely followed by Karun in P7, G Brown in P8. Quite a nice little pack here, Retro, from P6.
It is indeed. So you just mentioned, obviously, Karun, obviously, just to plug the patron whilst we're on Karun. Obviously, Karun is a reserve. If any of you guys are interested, the patron starts as anything as little as £3 a month. You can get your race number reserved, access to special practice servers, and also top priority as a reserve. So if you do obviously subscribe to the benefits of the patron, whether you're a full-time driver or can't quite make full-time but still want to be a reserve, you still get priority being plugged into the patron. I mean, you get more rights and behind-the-scenes stuff than us commentators, really. I mean, we don't get taught how to join a server properly, but, you know, that's unfortunately, that's just parts of being as a commentator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's a quid in a pot.
Yeah, take a shot, bob a quid in, flick your mate. But yeah, I think one of the great things, obviously, if you're new to sim racing at all, using that reserve role is such a great way to get involved in any sim racing. If you are somebody that maybe can't make every week, maybe that's dictated by work or childcare or just your general availability with your social life, having that reserve role so you can, if you've got that bit of spare time to bob into one of these larger grids, you can do. As long as you're clean and fair, it's a great way to get in, get racing on a nice big grid, which is exactly how this sort of racing should be done. GT3 racing, almost really does warrant a big grid because that's where the best racing is, especially over an endurance. If it was maybe like 10, 15 cars, you maybe get a little bit stretched, maybe you don't see anybody for a little bit, but with 33 drivers on the grid, you really aren't going to miss out on any action at all, no matter where you start in the grid. So yeah,
as my old mate says, absolutely. We don't just cover ACC, we do cover WRC, F1, Assetto Corsa, all that kind of stuff. Anything motorsport, racing related, FRL does have you covered. As we did have a little joke and banter with Mr. G Brown, one of the console admins throughout the season, as he loves a bit of WRC, spends more time on the grass than on the tarmac. He did send me a clip of one of his YouTube streams playing WRC. Just wanted to know I'm off track just as much in WRC as I am on ACC. It's a skill issue, not an advertisement. So that is from the horse's mouth himself, guys. So if you see G Brown on the grass, don't worry about it. He's practicing for WRC and ACC. That's how good he is.
I mean, it has to be quite a feat this evening because the grass, Retro, is on the other side of that barrier.
So well, I mean, that's why they go hand in hand. No, hang on a minute. G Brown loves racing on the grass. That's why Gedman, the other admin, safety inspects the barriers for him. So he just leaves a little gap for him so he can slip through. See? I've got your number, 118.
So we're about to get underway. Just a short formation lap here. The driver's got a couple of corners to navigate.
20 seconds.
And then they'll be powering down towards turn one. Quite a heavy braking zone for the first corner, especially with, and it's quite wide, so it often could be 3 wide and then had to be quickly made into a 2. So we'll see how these drivers navigate that battle. With 1 second remaining, and we're going to get rolling. So yeah, guys, Richings, he's not put fuel in. Push it, get out and push, quick.
I mean, that's just as bad as starting on the wrong tyres for a wet race. Who's done that?
I think that was you.
I know. Self-burn hurts even more. Thanks, Son's now crying.
Vermeulen is going to lead them all off. It looks like Malotti in the background there has already gone for quite an aggressive look. Now Vermeulen is away. It looks like Malotti is going to get boxed in just that little bit. Always we have touches in the back. Leica has to go further towards the inside, but Vermeulen has got away very cleanly. The BMW on the inside, that's M. Grace. Can he dive it? No, he has to back off. Vermeulen, in the nice and clear, does get away. And then it looks like Trevigioli is having to defend from Leica quite heavily here. Vermeulen with an absolute dream start. Will Leica make a dive down the inside? He looks at it, he backs out. Now, guys, we do have to stay on with the lead cars just for a few moments until... oh, as we catch in the background there. Nice little overtake. And then they're still side by side. We have to wait a long time for them to come around this bend. Side by side, we've got the NSX of Sharp being battled with Harvey in the Aston Martin. But we're back on board.
So I didn't want to jinx it, but I think G Brown forgot to ready up because he started from the pits.
Oh.
Maybe he's listening to us too much and forgot to ready up.
It's like it lines up this Aston Martin. It is an absolute demon in the straights. Can he get all the way to the inside before turn 9? He's right there. He's finally pulled out the slipstream, but can he get the braking done? It's only light, but he's got to temper it correctly. It looks like Trevigioli is still holding around the outside. Trevigioli goes off track, but does keep it within the outside of track limits. But Leica is through. Trevigioli does like he just dropped back, and it looks like he's going to get a bit of interest from Malotti very soon. It looks like G Brown is still... so at 104, you know, it said Richings he had to stay in the pits because he's out of fuel. We didn't put any fuel in, silly boy. So all the pack's super tight now. We caught Sharp looking for a little bit of dive on Eden just ahead of him. Further battles behind. The speedy Aston Martins loving it at this track. But De Rick closing in very quickly on Harvey. This straight not quite long enough for a slipstream to really get engaged, but it looks like De Rick might think about it. He doesn't. Gets a bit frustrated. That's a throw down the anchors much earlier than he'd have wanted. I think this is really an Aston track.
Especially a straight line speed from the Aston Martin is unreal.
Vermeulen got a huge lead at this point, 2.3 seconds. All that clean air is an absolute dream. Eden still getting pressured by Sharp. Nobody really electing to go side by side around turn 6. No point compromising yourself for a move when you need all the traction
sorry, buddy.
speed.
I think we might have a little bit of a late move from Malotti on Trevigioli in P3. Got my tongue caught there. I thought he was going to break out the slipstream there, but he does close massively. So
Trevigioli does go deep again. Malotti chooses it.
Was going to eye him up there. So Grace also still hanging on the back of it, and Karuna as well.
Yeah, Trevigioli just seems a bit of a bus stop here, but it does look like Grace goes a little bit wide. That invites Karuna, our reserve driver, joining us this evening, up his inside momentarily, but doesn't make the move. What was only... Oh, as they touch! He saw a quick opportune move and he went for it, but no! He needs to get off the track there. Drama early on in the race, but he's going to try and rejoin, entering the final turn as well. But now it looks like he's going to have
got a big fight. You've got Cooters and that's Filomeno in P19 there down the start straight. There was Trotman as well, but I think he wasn't quite close enough.
Yeah, looks like Cooters really had some overspeed
Yellow
there.
Ferrari from behind. Jesus, that was very close there, Sergeant.
Bit snaky on the braking.
I don't think he braked at all.
There's a little bit behind. Thackers getting pressured by the other Porsche of Q Robert, but Thacker closes that one off very, very strongly. And Malotti trying to pick up slipstream up ahead from Trevigioli.
We're really sorry, buddy. We're trying to say the name correctly, but it's just we keep butchering it.
Yeah, here he
So
comes.
Thacker does get a nice move on Q Robert down the straight.
The Aston Martin coming for M Grace. That Aston Martin's so quick. And crucially, I mean, all the other cars have got massive power. They're barges, but the Aston Martin is actually quite light on its feet. Oh, as we go back to P13, trying to overtake P12. This is Critelli trying to overtake Colpitts. They were very, very close momentarily, and as I think Colpitts is just getting backed up a little bit by Grace ahead. But in that exchange, it does look like Sharp has then gone to close up on Critelli. It's quite the train appearing from Harvey backwards from P10. Critelli under pressure from Sharp, as previously mentioned. Doesn't look like Critelli's quite getting the advantage out of that Aston Martin that the drivers are getting. Obviously, you can only reach top speed if you get the traction early on. I've gone back to Couters, who's got Trotman all over him. Trotman dives to the inside for turn 4. Can he make it stick? Has to go over the curb, get squeezed out. But he's now setting himself up quite nicely here. Took the wide line entry into turn 5. And what can he do as they go round turn 6? It does look like Couters went a little bit deep on the exit of turn 6. What does this mean for Trotman's chances down the straight?
Oh, I might have to interrupt you here, buddy. Colpitts is under fire from Critelli. He's going to break the slipstream down the straight for P12. He's going to get the move. Not quite. BMW's just edging away from him. He had the speed, but pulled out the slipstream. That BMW, fair play.
It's not over yet, though. Critelli has ducked in quite nicely. It looks like Colpitts is going to get held up a little bit by Harvey ahead. I suspect there's going to be a move made into turn 9 here, as that's Grafe ahead of them going off. That then sends Colpitts wide through distraction. Critelli gets the cleaner exit. Cars settle in once again. It does look like Colpitts is a lot more confident this stage of the race than Grafe is. P11 is on the line. Look, just ahead of them, just catching Harvey and De Rick side by side. Harvey in the Aston Martin, still holding it out round the outside. Can he get stuck in for turn 2? No, he cannot. It's like De Rick has taken that position. So the fact that this fight still goes on, Grafe defending valiantly his P11. I think we are going to go back to Harvey ahead. What's that do? Yeah, Harvey in the Aston Martin. Doesn't seem to have done too well around turn 6. He has just dropped off. There's a lot of loss of car control around turn 6. It's quite tricky. Off Camber Corner on the outside. Back towards the front though, I've just seen Malotti has caught right up Travaglioli. Travaglioli has gone deep and wide out of turn 9. Turn 8, sorry. This is turn 9.
Well, it was a big move from Couters down the straight on Handley. Bit of an interesting line there on the right hander for battle for P17. Still side by side. Still side by side. Round the outside, Mr. Handley. Oh, I think Couters had a great drive there.
Trotman.
Ah. See, my eyeballs are about as broken as yours.
So Trotman does get through. Does to defend it, make sure he... Yeah, because it doesn't look like Couters wants to give this up. He stayed right in the back of him, and then Trotman gets a bit snaky on his brakes into the final turn. He gets a snap, but then Couters gets a big snap too. What does this mean? What can Sargent do? Sargent is just following this. Trotman will have lost a lot of speed there. Couters, sorry, would have lost a lot of speed as you meet the halfway mark in this sprint. Only a few positions exchanged. Pro Tier very much still dominating the top 10.
I think we did miss Harvey overtaking Derek, but Derek still seems to be just about hanging on to the back of the Aston Martin.
I've just flipped back to Karuna's banged up McLaren. He is chasing down the other McLaren of Chumakov's. This Pro Tier versus Am Tier. Based on reputation alone, this should be easy pickings for Karuna, but it all depends how damaged his car really is. Back on board with Derek, with Harvey ahead of him. Looks like Derek gets a bit out of shape as he goes around turn 9.
But up in front, Malotti is catching Travaglioli. Closest I've seen him.
Travaglioli also isn't too far off the back of Leica either. The Mulan has very much checked out.
Well, I just hope he can keep checking out at this pace and not unfortunately repeat what he did last week due to the wet weather conditions.
Not a cloud in the sky here though in France and Paul Ricard. The drivers can put all confidence into the grip in their tyres as we have fast conditions. Not quite optimum, but very fast conditions for the drivers this evening. I don't think the admins felt like punishing them twice in 2 weeks. So Grave still backing up this train for P11 that goes all the way down to P17.
Well, slightly further down, you've got G Brown side by side with Coppins for P26. Gets a move done down the straight, but Coppins is still there.
Very hard to try and fight it back into turn 2, but he's there. Brown left the door open, but then found the speed on the wider exit. Coppins looks like he's very much been in the wars. As you have support from Mr. Gordon Brown. Now down the straight, I picked up Robert. We've got slipstream on Sargent.
Oh, who's that? Car 46, Filomeno has spun it on turn 5. Turn 5, turn 4?
6 is the long bend.
Ah, no, turn 5.
No, here goes Robert in the Porsche on Sargent. He hasn't found the inside though. As we've seen so many times, if your car doesn't have the grunt, you come out from underneath that slipstream and your speed just disappears. But he does seem to have found better traction around turn 9. Can he spook Sargent into a mistake for turn 10?
I don't know, he's got my lucky number. Whether it's going to be lucky for him or unlucky like me.
I've just picked up Van Vlotten, who is throwing a tow rope around the rear wing of Handley. The extra grunt out the corners for that Ferrari is serving him well.
So Sargent is under fire from Robert down the straight. The Porsche, great traction zone there, but the Ferrari is still just about keeping a wheel in.
Yeah, he does
and
well.
Townsend is gripping this as well.
Townsend really taking advantage of the fact that these two have been pushed back towards him.
Yeah, there's a big train just slightly up in front I've just seen as well. You've got Sharp, Trotman, Vlotten, Patelli as well, Handley, round the wall. Big train there.
But here we go. It's like Robert is going to have to really defend this. Townsend taking double slipstream once he's got one, trying to take the next one. He's going to try and
I think he
box
wanted to move
Robert
there,
in here.
but yeah.
So he's got alongside the Porsche of Robert. Townsend still has lost out. Looks like the Ferrari of Sargent has managed to slip back through. But then he's gone deep, and now Robert is now diving back down the inside. What can Townsend do to turn this whole thing into his advantage? So Townsend takes a wide line. These two go side by side through here. And now Robert has got better traction. He's drawn along around the outside, but he's going to be on the outside for the next turn. It's quite easy for Sargent to keep it here. Will Townsend still diving on the inside? No, he gets blocked out. Robert does block that back in. But then Robert takes a lot of curb. He does get a good traction initially. But how has this unsettled him? Townsend having a little look down the inside. Robert not wanting to give Townsend extra slipstream when he pulls out. Oh, that is Sargent having to go across the first turn, and he then has to sacrifice both the positions. But does he? No, Townsend's asking for it. Oh, there's a tap. It's a very disgruntled tap there. Not sure if that was necessary.
Elbows were out. Daggers were sharpened for that one, I think.
So picked up a Ferrari on Ferrari battle with Sharp and Cooters. Just coming down the straight. Sharp looking pretty battered.
Yeah, just slightly in front we've got Critelli and Vlotten. Critelli's got a great run down the straight. Can he get the speed? He does break wind and move out. Grow up, Greg.
It's always you. But no, Critelli doesn't seem to get that one to stick. Just found himself stuck to the inside line, which he couldn't really hold the speed.
We have a drive-through from Filomeno. There's a car on the side of the track. On the exit, that is a Ferrari.
That was Trotman, was it? No, Townsend, wasn't it? 104?
No, it's Nichelle. Car 959. Not quite having the race one that he wanted. He's now got Derek with blue flags just behind him.
Just picked up Handley in the BMW. Got himself within half a second of Van der Waal here. Looking pretty confident now. That BMW does look squeaky clean. And who's that? That is Van der Waal. No, that's Colpitts, who's just lost out there. He went deep on the exit at turn 2. And is he going to get picked off by another car from behind him? Behind him would be Van Vlotten. Thankfully for Grafe, it looks like he's finally left his demons behind him. The big train that he had for his P11 is finally dissipated. He's broken away. Further up, on the closest battles up front, is Clayton chasing down Grace. And further ahead of that, we've got Evangelioni, less than half a second down from Leica, as it's been for most of this race. I've just picked up Critelli. He's chasing Van Vlotten. Van Vlotten bouncing over the curb on the exit and entry into turn 9. Van Vlotten looking a little bit uneasy with his car control in this late stage. Maybe he's pushed his tyres too hard. Critelli looks like he's looked after his pretty well. Clayton going to put everything he can into this last lap, which means maximising exits, late braking where possible. He's to really line this up. He looks so much tighter than Grace at this stage.
Ooh, slightly further behind, but you got Van der Waal, Handley, Colpitts having a real good bumper kart racing there. So
yeah.
Robin is racing.
Oh, his Handley goes quite deep into turn 3. And that's going to invite Dan Vlotten back to the inside. I've just gone back up towards Clayton, who's going to have his last opportunity to overtake Grace here. He's not quite close enough here. He's going to have to wait for Grace mistake. Doesn't seem to be coming.
I mean, let's be real. Grace have a mistake? Nah.
Oh, as we've just seen Harvey get a drive-through. Oh, as Clayton gets it all tied up in turn 9. But we go back to the front. We go to Vermeulen. He's led from start to finish. He's pulled out a fantastic gap, 8.5 seconds. Well done to Jazzman there. Like has still got especially early to be off. But he does seem to have that one covered. Malotti slightly disconnected from that. Clayton has pulled himself back together. He's not going to get the slipstream. I don't think he's quite going to get Grace. No, he holds that one off well. Eden wins the silver tier. And Sharp. Oh, we've got a little bit of a battle behind, but Harvey does have that drive through, so he's going to drop a fair bit down with 30 seconds to sit through. Oh, that's Handley that flashing somebody. I'm not quite sure what happened in those last few corners. Sure, we'll hear about it from the drivers. Everybody else behind quite spaced out, but Brown is coming home in P24 with his Honda. Cablo in the Bentley barge, followed by the Porsche of Gedman in there. Dreadlock Steve comes home in his McLaren in P29, just behind Coppins, Kokomalakis in P30. We've got Filomeno, who, for someone who's finishing in P31, has got quite a clean car, but we know he's had his troubles this race. He'll be hoping to come back strong in the following round. So if you're new to our Super Sprint Sunday, do not go anywhere. We've got a full 20-minute quali to get through before we then go into a 40-minute sprint race. So yeah, everything that kept you excited in this first race 1, we're gonna have double of it in race 2, plus a whole qualifying format.
Absolutely.
Of 15 minutes. So while those commentators catch our breath, we're going to quickly go through the finishing positions there. So, as mentioned, and as we followed him over the line, Vermeulen won that one in the Pro Tier, with the podium being of him, Leica, and Travaglioli, who lost the P2 early in the race. Fobolotti, M. Grace, Clayton, and in the round after top 6 for the Pro. Top 3 for the Silver Tier are Eden, De Rick, and Van der Waal. Mixed amongst those was Sharp and Grafe. And we had Colpitts following them with Van Vlotten and Critelli, who was at odds with Van Vlotten for a lot of that race, but never quite got it done. Then we have Handley winning the AM tier, with Cooters just splitting him from his P2 and 3 contenders of Sharp and Trotman. Robert, who was not short of battles in that race, finishing in P9 ahead of Townsend, who could not quite pick off both the drivers there. They managed to get Sargent, but not Robert. Then we have the ailing Pro Tier drivers of Karuna and Brown, who I think is ruining the top speed of that Honda around Paul Ricard. Then we have Chumakov's Harvey, who had to serve 30 seconds, so he's finished way down from where he crossed the line in P25. Then we have Cablo, Gedman, Coppins, Dreadlock Steve, Kokomalakis with the shift happens. Filomeno, who had a few incidents that race. Nishelli and Thacker and Richings finishing not on the lead lap. Richings, I don't believe, actually ever got started due to the local bandits stealing his fuel. So everybody, let us know if you enjoyed that one. Obviously, we've got plenty more action to give you. We've got another 40 minutes plus 50 minutes worth of qualifying to whet your appetite still. Perfect time to obviously inform you once again that if you do want to get involved with anything sim racing, whether it be Assetto Corsa Competizione like you have here on console, iRacing, Formula 1, WRC, if it has 4 wheels and you can sim race it online, FRL has got you covered. Show your interest in the comments, like and subscribe to the stream. And admin can drop you a link in the comments to get you linked into the Discord and then on a SimGrid if that is something you need to do to get involved in that particular racing league. And they're about to get underway. Obviously, if you do get involved or you're already involved, you can get even more involved once you're set in the server by joining the Patreon. It starts at just £3 a month. If you've got a special driver number that is special to you, you can reserve it, and you get, as your special practice server, you get early access to events, you get priority reserve slots, like Karuna this evening, who's come in a very large grid and been able to, despite having to commit completely to the grid, he can come in and have priority to get any last slots that come available. So we're going to just flip it on 494 of Melotti.
So I just want to say thank you, buddy, for taking that last couple of minutes. I did dive to the fridge there to get another drink, and like breaking wind in the first race, I was breaking a lot of burps, and obviously you guys don't want to hear a commentator burping for 15 minutes, so I had to decompress and let all the air out. But we do have qualifying 2 underway, and I'm pretty sure I see some of the drivers racing round qualifying 2 like it's race 2 already. They do know they've got to qualify first, right?
Yeah, I've just seen it was that one of the green cars in the background just seemed to be overtaking another car. I think best spot at the moment is probably Travaggioli. He's got quite a gap ahead of him.
It's more just watching the Aston Martins of Leica, and I believe that's Harvey just having a bit of a jousting match down the straight.
Obviously, these guys have been part of this this Sprint Sunday series for a while. They do know each other well. They know where the limits are. Oh, Melotti about to start this lap. Just go over the curb, but does seem to get the power planted nicely. So he's going to power down towards turn 1 of Della Vere. I'm pretty sure I butchered that. As he decides to take out a few cones from the pit exit. Swing it.
Whoa. Gedman worked hard putting those cones there.
He did. Hey, you never know. He might well swing out wide and go and put them back. As Melotti takes as much curb as he dares through turns 3 and 4. Now pinch the brake into turn 5. Let the car roll around here. Keep up the pace, but make sure your car is nice and stable before you plant your foot here. As soon as you're turning right, maximum throttle, and then down straight you go. You've got a few seconds to speak to the voices in your head and think, where do I intend on braking for the infamous turn 8? It's going to fly through here. Minimal braking, if not just a lift and a shift, depending on how much fuel you've got in your car.
A lift and a shift, because shift happens.
Yeah, carrying a lot of speed through there. You can invalidate out here on a section of the track that actually isn't really marked. But now diving into turn 9, heavy curb usage on the exit, which is great. That means he's turned the car very effectively. Now into turn 10. Take a nice wide arc, and then pinch the curb on the inside and then power out in the straightest line possible. Now run the car around here. I personally like to hold it really tight. Looks like Melotti does as well. It means you can get the car straightened up nice and early, and then turn the car over the curve and on the outside for maximum rotation, and then power out. And let's see what time he does straight off the bat. That's a 1:53.6. Other drivers on a lap would be car 5:10.
So we do have Travaglioli, so one of his rivals from race 1, just coming round the final corner now.
As we see Vermeulen put in a similar time to what he did in qualifying 1. He's got a 1:53.3.
He's about half a second behind Malotti. So Vermeulen's just, he's a complete different breed, isn't he? He's just built different.
Where's car 5:10? There we are. This is Roberts, who we covered a bit in race 1. Porsche's traction does allow it to stay competitive here, but does lose out an ultimate top line speed. And he puts himself P8, 2.3 seconds off the pace. Got car 51 entering the final few corners. This is Derick. Stays nice and tight to the curb. For turn 12 and 13, but then goes a little bit deep. Has to really crank the steering to get away. So let's see how he does. He goes P7, 2 seconds off the pace. With 55.4.
So the next car I can see is 84.
This is Cablo in the Bentley.
With the Slow and Furious team.
As he goes P10. 959 coming towards the line. This is Nichelle. Nichelle? Let us know in the comments which is the correct pronunciation.
You can't put the accent in the pronunciation.
No, but it's an extra syllable. You can tell us there's an extra syllable, isn't it?
We're going to get cancelled by names at this rate.
Threatening cancellation.
We do have Travaglioli, who did improve by half a second. So he's now 300ths just in front of Malotti, but still 2/10 down from Vermeulen.
Now, potentially a man that's going to burst this, but is Leica, who's just come into the line in the Aston Martin. He does a slipstream ahead of him as well, which he went after. Goes P4 only, though. I was expecting him to burst the top 3 there. He's 2/10 off the back of that top 3. So I wonder what's going on there. 51 coming towards the line. This is Derick
once again.
He's really looking like he's struggling with that final turn. There's a lot of steering crank to be made on there rather than just arching the corner. Does improve though, all the same. That's it. He did.
He can't be struggling that much.
I think that's mostly because he butchered the last turn on the last lap. We've got car number 10. Stand by my words. And that is Brown. He does improve. It's P7. Drops Derick down a position. Not by much. Only a hundredth of a second separates him and Derick.
Well, I mean, P7's a great place to start the race. I mean, hello, G Brown's cut across track there.
Oh, as Vermeulen has dropped into the 52s. Put some real daylight between him and Travaglioli.
Absolutely. But so G Brown does need to remember to hit drive when we go into race 2 and not start from the pit lane. Otherwise his qualifying will be for nothing. You got Q Robert now with a car, I think just in front of him. I think that's Thacker in front of him.
So this should work quite well for his slipstream. 2 cars of equal pace ahead.
Thacker goes P21 and Q Robert goes P11 there with a slipstream from Thacker.
your number's sake, Retro, is coming to the line. Dreadlock Steve in the Batmobile McLaren from P26. No improvement currently.
It's funny though, because the number I use in the McLaren is there, and the number I use in the Ferrari is also here.
You hear that, ladies? He can't commit to a number.
I know. Can't commit to pace either, but I mean, your ones talk.
Win at Monza, but put me anywhere else.
You only because you did a pirouette and took everyone out.
That's not even the race I'm referring to.
That is the same race, isn't it?
I was on about a little one we did recently.
Oh no, that's not the one I was on about.
But no, I did win that race, funnily enough, the one you're on about as well. That was mostly down to pit strategy and going out early on the slick tyres when it was still wet. But back to the battles at hand. Car 104.
Which is Richings.
He moved. Just as I clicked on him, he went up.
Considerate.
He isn't very considerate, is it? How about Thacker?
Thacker coming back to the line.
Jinx.
Oh no!
Looks
Didn't
like
say
Retro.
padlock 1, 2, 3. Just showing my mental age of 7 there, just like Thacker's race number.
And 884 is coming towards the line.
Oh, Mr. Sharp there, P5 in the Honda. Nicely done.
Finding this is Eden in the Mustang, using all the grunt of that American barge to take himself up to P11.
Got Grace now. P5 for Grace to knock Sharp down.
So I've picked up,
Leica doesn't seem to improve there.
Malotti coming to the final 2 turns. He has recently got a bit closer to Vermeulen. He's taken what was a 6th tenth gap down to a 4 and a bit tenth gap, but he has a bit of a rear end action coming at the final turn. How much will this have hurt him? No improvement there. 737. This is Grafe who's yet to set a lap. This man was in P11. Goes to last race. That's where he finished. He goes P21. Well, what he'll have hoped for. Got Harvey in the Aston Martin taking a brand new line from what I've seen. That's the widest line through turn 12 that I've seen so far. Will it serve him? P15, no improvement. Car 51. This is the Rick once again. As he just once again seems to really be struggling on that final turn. Not quite as smooth and silky as everybody else. Does slightly improve, goes ahead of Brown. These two seem to be dicing for this P11 spot.
Ferrari 777, Jay Sargent still yet to set a lap. Does finally set one to P27. Eden's coming back round in the Mustang. Doesn't seem to improve. Big train now coming towards the line. Leica, can he improve? No, not yet.
Got Brown coming towards the line as well. Currently P13. Can he pit Eden? No. Got Nishelli. Who's got a few more corners to navigate, so we'll stay on board with him. There's a lot of speed into turn 12.
Oh, don't worry, Gedman. We didn't see you do that, I promise. Just saw him lose it into turn 4.
4?
Yeah.
Just shoot over the chicane, did he?
Oh, I don't know, but I mean, I'd love to hear what he says about it after the race if he does join. Definitely saving that replay.
That's Grafe calling an end to his qualifying. Car 160. That's Dan Vlotten. Van Vlotten. 26 to P15. Great improvement. Brings himself back up to behind Q Robert. It's a battle that will continue into race 2. Car number 33. Where have you gone? This is Sharp. These are very British colours to be sporting that number. And then goes P7.
It's a very good lap from Jay Sharp there.
Putting a lot of space between him and his compatriots. We've got Clayton in the Aston Martin. Just bump Sharp down though. Nothing to be ashamed of though, Sharp. Still very, very good time there.
Bar 246, Trotman in the AM class now coming to the line. Can he? Yes, he can. Right behind him there.
Oh, as we catch Coco Blackis just pinning it into the pit wall. Another Aston Martin of Harvey coming around again. Let's see if that line through turn 12 was an experimental one or one that he's intending.
Well, I mean, if it works, right?
That's the thing, it didn't work last time around.
Ooh.
So much tighter this time around. So I do suspect he made a mistake last time out.
Ooh, looks a little bit on there as well.
So currently P17, 2 seconds down, 2 tenths improvement, goes P15. Car 510.
Robert in the 510.
Oh, one we have missed is Trotman drawing himself right up next to Sharp in P9. What can Robert do? He's the closest fight currently to those two. Stays P14. So there you have it, guys. There is your grid for race 2 in your Super Sprint Sunday round 2 around Paul Ricard. We're going to go through those briefly after I've had a drink.
Just to make a disclaimer, this stream is not sponsored by any drinks company or anything like that. We just talk an absolute amount of nonsense for a stream. So, hence why Greg the Woofafa has the name Lord Waffle, because he does waffle more than a Waffle House.
You know it. I can believe I actually talk to people for a living. I'm not a therapist. Don't ever ask me to therapize anybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
It wouldn't be good for you. I just talk you into purchasing things as a form of retail therapy. But yeah, as we have it, the Pro Tier have once again dominated the top 10, but with a few different entrants of the Am Tier actually. So we've got Vermeulen leading the way, followed by Malotti with a bit of a bigger gap than there was in race 1, considering it was a one-shot quali, followed by Travaglioli, and then by Leica, who did great last round to get ahead of at least one of those. Then we've got A Sharp heading off Grace in P6, respectively. Then we've got Clayton finishing off that first block of Pro Tier drivers. And then we've got the leader of the Am Tier, J Sharp, leading off Trotman in P8 and 9. Then we've got Karuna, our reserve driver for the evening, doing very well to drop himself into P10. And we've got Nichelle in P11, Derrick and Eden from the Silver Tier, finally starting that Silver Tier off in P12 and 13. Then we've got Robert, who's the closest, as we mentioned, challenger to those two from the Am Tier in P14. Then we've got Harvey in the Aston Martin in P15, Brown in P16 in this Honda that is not serving him well this evening. He'd probably be better in one of his rally cars. And then we have Van Vlotten beating off Van der Waal as we go to the grid. Then Richings in P19, Townsend in P9, a little bit away from some action. Then we've got Colpitts in P21, Handley P22, Grafe in P23, Chumakovs, Thacker, Cooters, Sargent, Gedman, Cablo, and Critelli round off the top 10. Then we have the amateur drivers of Dreadlock Steve, Kokomalakis, Shift Happens, Coppins, and Filomeno finish the back of the grid. So we have to just wait a few minutes for the drivers to adjust their setups, adjust their fuel, and get ready for 40 minutes of sprint around this sunny Paul Ricard circuit. A track that has so many different layouts. I think you could well and truly test any car around here. But yeah, if you are keen to get racing in something just like this, you can do. Drop a comment under the stream, and one of the admins will reach out to you to give you a Discord link and a link to SimGrid if necessary to get involved in the action. We run so many nights of the week, I've lost count. We've got long form racing, we've got special events, we've got sprint Sundays, we do Assetto Corsa Concezioni like here, iRacing, Formula 1, WRC. And yeah, if it's got 4 wheels and it races online, we've probably got you covered. So yeah, come and join in. And if you're liking the stream or hating the stream, give it a like, share it with a friend, share it with a foe. Make somebody's Sunday evening entertaining or horrifying. Yeah, but all the same, make sure FRL Super Sprint Sunday is what's in front of their eyes.
Just also make sure they do like and subscribe as well when you do tell someone you hate as well, just so we can tell our bosses we're doing a good job.
Absolutely. Ching.
I should really get a soundboard for that, shouldn't I? Every time we say it, just have a soundboard of a, like, the survey says, ding,
ding. So
40 minutes of race 2 about to get underway.
So yeah, unless you're new to Sprint Sunday, the sprint is exactly that. There is no need to pit unless your front and rear bumpers are dangling off to the ground. And even then, you can carry on like you're an uninsured driver in the US.
You have insurance?
No. I say that like the only place I don't drive is just on McCain. So Vermeulen is lining them up, and we're about to go green. He is already green, and off he goes. How well is he going to be able to defend this into the first corner? But Malotti is already alongside, but he's going to be on the outside for this corner. Vermeulen does have this one covered. He takes quite a tight inside line. What can Malotti do? He has been squeezed out. But then Leica's trying to put himself in the middle of it, and that's allowed a few drivers to come up from behind. Vermeulen, as ever, has done a great job to get ahead, but that is a car of Travaglioli has got ahead of Malotti already. He did just seem to get backed up. Leica's still there.
See the Rick spin round there.
So we've got a few movers and shakers in the background. We are just waiting for the timing screen to fix itself. But it looks like Leica, that Malotti might lose 2 positions off the start here. Leica's already sizing him up.
Oh, and again.
So Leica
not having the start he wanted. Got
so
taken out or tapped and then spun again by another driver.
So Leica in the speedy Aston Martin has forced himself to the inside. There's other cars in the background also going side by side. But at the front of the grid, Leica takes maximum curbing on the inside and does get ahead of Malotti.
Great use there, but now Grace is all over the back of Malotti now.
So yeah, falling down in the first few corners of a race with a bit of a grid this size can be dangerous. Your corrective actions will make you slower, and then before you know it, you're tumbling down the order. We've got down to Karuna, our reserve for the evening from the Patreon, is chasing Sharp. But then, he gets quite heavy on the brakes before the last turn, and does catch Q Robert a bit by surprise, but he seems to have that under wraps. But I've just picked up Eden. Quite a big battle here with his Mustang going around the outside of Cooters in the Ferrari, who's then also getting... Oh, that's a deep move. Was that Sargent? Was that Eden? A bit further ahead, we've got Townsend. Trying to stay on top of these drivers in close proximity is difficult.
They're all flicking around everywhere. We've got moves and dives happening absolutely everywhere. We've got Grafe making a move on Cooters there. I think, as you just mentioned, there was another driver just up ahead that I didn't quite see getting moved on another car as well. There is moves happening left, right and centre, folks. So they've got a move from Sharp, possibly on Grace, the P5 down the straight.
See, pulls out in the Honda. Will he lose all the speed as he comes to the turn? Yes, he does.
But he's now got Clayton closing in just behind.
All these top guys. As we further back, we just see Karuna going a bit deeper on turn 9, but he does seem to have collected the car. The camber there can really drag you out.
So further back, you've got side by side with Richings and Grafe there. Cooters and Sargent side by side as well. I think Cooters does get the inside line, which does favour. He does get out of shape there on the exit. Sargent is going to be licking his lips at this.
So we've got Grafe diving down the inside of the Ferrari of Richings. Richings really needs to sort himself out because Grafe is coming for him. Grafe, strangely though, elects for the outside in his next turn, so he must really back his straight line speed, and you can see why. Look at that grunt coming from the Ford.
I'm pretty sure the Mustang has its own DRS button.
But he hasn't got the best run through there, and it looks like Richings momentarily at least came back, and Cooters showing a lot of interest. Cooters dives the inside. Oh, has to throw down the anchors. And that's invited Sargent up to the back of his car. And up ahead of them. As we just
Brown and Van Vlotten.
So Retro, we've got Richings actually finally coming back on Grafe. Grafe did not come round turn 6 effectively. So both drivers reasonably compromised. Grafe has seemed to got the power down now, but now Cooters is on his way as well. Cooters picking up double slipstream, goes to the inside, seems to find his way. He's going to might get 2 here. So Cooters might get 2 here, but he'll at least get Richings. Richings still there, runs Richings out wide. Does get that one. Further back, we've got Chumakovs showing a bit of interest in Sargent. Richings has to really collect himself quickly here. He takes a little bit of a bump from the inside curb. But I'm going to quickly go up because Brown, as you said, Retro, very close on Van Vlotten.
Yeah, didn't quite get the move done. I think once again the Ferrari straight line speed was just a little bit more over the Honda.
So Grafe once again seemingly forming a train, but not in the position that he found himself in the previous round. Back towards the front, there's a nice little battle forming between Malotti, Grace and Sharp, all sharing the same bit of tarmac. They seem to have let Leica move ahead here.
Oh, sorry buddy, we had Coppens there cut across turn 1, gained a bit of an advantage over Cablo and Gedman there, sorry, Colpitts and Gedman there behind him.
So Richard, I'm going back to the front, and Sharp has picked up a brilliant slipstream from Grace there. Grace goes defensive to the inside, and now what can Sharp do? Now he's come out of the slipstream. He does have a bit of a distance though, come from Malotti ahead, but I'm not sure this is going to be enough. It does seem to have made it. He has. He's made it past the BMW of Grace.
Gedman is getting beaten in a straight line speed by G Harvey. They're side by side. The Colpitts BMW has pulled away. We've got Cork and Malakis closing in as well on the Porsche behind.
The BMW Colpitts just trying to keep it on track as he tries to manage the Ferrari. He's going to try and take the Ferrari around the outside. It's a long way to go. It's slippy out there, my friend. And that Aston Martin just wondered, that's Harvey who's going to take a piece of this. But the BMW has fought back. Colpitts has ducked under the inside of turn 9. The Aston Martin coming back again. This is Harvey. Oh, as we watched who was that? That was the Ferrari of Coppens. Getting a real snap there, and he has to go deep. Turns back in, takes a bump. So yeah, that was Coppens in the wars there. Not sure he's going to beat the Aston Martin for pace down this straight.
We've got Gedman and Derrick now. Gedman shows his nose big on the brakes there.
Gedman makes it through nicely. Can he keep the speed on the exit? Yes, he can.
Oh, big snap there.
But Derrick seems to get the better exit nonetheless. Oh, as he taps oh my word! Sends Gedman to the shadow realm.
Well, let's hope Gedman tested that barrier.
Oh my word. Oh. Doesn't look like that's steering very well. And I'm not surprised. I don't think the respect was shown for the arch there in the track. I bet we'll be seeing that in the steward's room. We're going to go in search of battles though. I go back up towards P11. We've got Trotman, Robert, Sharp, all within a few tenths of a second. Not sure what's happened to Trotman. He has dropped off. Karuna up to P8. Great advancements from the reserve driver. But then Trotman has gone deep, really deep. This has allowed Robert up on his inside, and he's going to go into turn 14 with a bit of an advantage. It doesn't like Trotman has defended this well at least initially, but then he doesn't defend it on the exit. They squeeze and bang tyres coming around here. And for the final turn, the Porsche is supreme on traction. But how clean was it? It was pretty clean. And as long as he can pick up a little bit of a slipstream from Trotman ahead, he might just be able to get the inside into turn 1. But couldn't make it stick. I think that's an opportunity gone amiss in there. I'll go back down to G Brown in P15. He's having to defend quite furiously from that Hanley behind. No? That's not Hanley.
No, that's Vlotten. He's overtaken Vlotten.
So yeah, well done.
He's just not updated. Speaking of updated lists, we have Richings, who has a drive-through in a real big train. That is going to hurt him.
So just picked up Malotti, who's pulled up to the back of the Aston Martin of Leica here, and he's bringing Sharp in the Honda along for the ride. Oh, as we catch Clayton bounding over the outside curbing of turn 8 as this battle for P5 hots up. A little bit further behind them, Trotman still leading this battle here. Trotman putting on a lot of defensive lines here. Can he keep turn 10 that little bit cleaner this time around? Yes, he can. And Shelley's going to be waiting any mistake here. Just like that one. Trotman gone wide again. But does seem to make it stick. So Trotman really leading the pack here. There's less than second gaps all the way down to P16 behind him. Small gap beginning to form from behind Nishali. But Nishali going for a move here on Sharp. Completely onside. Sharp did not see that one coming. Sharp clearly thinking about the move he was going to make down the straight. But a little further behind them, we've got cars, multiple cars side by side. And that was a McLaren going sideways. That's a Mustang with that. That's not great. The other Mustang, Eden, in a huge battle here with the McLaren of Townsend down the straight. Van Vlossen, sorry.
Buddy. We have a Mustang and McLaren, or never mind, I think that might be a lapped car, a backed car actually. It's a Mustang of Eden, I believe, and
yeah,
Van der Wall. Oh, there you go, it's updated now, yeah, 4th position, Van der Wall and Eden. Not quite sure what happened to my leaderboard there, but say side by side, Van der Wall keeping up with the Mustang in the straight line speed, just to prove how much speed these guys need.
So yeah, crucial in this battle to try and overtake Trotman. Nishali has overtaken Sharp and is now putting a bit of a gap on him. And it's Nishali the man to overtake Trotman and try to start to draw in on Karuna. Now I've also picked up Clayton a little bit further ahead. He's in P7 chasing down Grace in the BMW. Melotti still right on the back of Leica. Leica just seemingly doing, just maybe not lacking, maybe lacking a little bit of pace, but doing all the right things in terms of defence. Good defence is all done before you start having to move to defend. It's done in traction zones. It's done in trail braking, in carrying speed to the
traction
corners.
zones here, buddy. We've got Eden, Van der Wall, Handley, I think that's a Honda I see as well, G Brown and Vlotten all scrambling for a little bit of traction and grip.
Oh, it was just because Van der Waal had to duck out from underneath the back of Handley. I'm not sure he might have had to lift the power.
The Mustang.
This is just not updating. So yeah, 5 cars, all really close proximity, coming into turn 8. And in the BMW ahead of Handley, it's just looking a little bit. He's looking the shakiest one of the group. But ahead of them, looks like Van Vlotten is not doing too great either. He's gone a bit shaky on the exit of turn 8. He seems to be the cork in the bottle. What can Brown do about it? The Honda does come across quite a nimble car. Oh, is that a push to pass? Just give him a little bit of a love tap, it seems, to get by. Takes a wide line. Goes to the traction and takes the move. But what does this mean for Handley, who's also there? Also going to have the power down. Can he make his way to the inside? He's on the line, but can he make the braking all the same? He's still got work to do. And yes, he's got that done. Well done. But then behind him, Van Vlotten is going to get attacked by the Mustang of Eden. Great move down the side, very opportunistic. So Van Vlotten there losing 3 positions in about half a lap. And he might still have one more to lose, as Van der Waal is going to start to size him up. Now here goes Sharp on Trotman. We knew this was coming. Someone was going to challenge Trotman eventually. He's drawn to the inside for turn 8. And this should be all he needs to do now. He's got ahead, but then Trotman is going to fire it back down the inside, but then can't really position his car in a way to dictate the corner. He's going to have to settle.
Great defensive work from Sharp there.
P11, sorry. Clayton still putting pressure on Grace for this P6 position. Clayton always looking quietly confident. It looks like he's really ragging every bit of life out of the Aston Martin. Then marginally ahead of this, Malotty has not let go of Leica this entire race. He lost positions early on, but he's doing such a good job to hold Leica and keep him honest. The podium is just a few tens of meters ahead of him. Oh, it's unfortunate to hear, Richings. So picked up Sargent in the Ferrari, who's got Townsend in his sights. He's had a much better exit, but he needs to be careful. He's got here for the gasoline, there's S. Grafe in tow. Sargent is elected for the outside. The Mustang electing for something different all the same. Grafe is going to come up the inside. Is he going to get both? He is! What a move! But then he has to fight both on the exit as he gets a bit tied up. Oh, as then he gets double retaken again. And then, oh, he gets tapped and slightly turned on the exit 8, and then he gets more positions taken off him. And that is Colpitts taking advantage of Grafe.
Leica might have made a slight mistake somewhere, because Malotty has closed the gap even more so now. You can just about see both cars in the helicopter shot.
Travaglioli doing a great job to keep this time down from Vermeulen. This was 8 seconds by the end of race 1, which is about the time we're coming up to now. We're approaching that halfway point in the race.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
So there you have it, we're halfway.
'84 drive through for track limits, I believe that is Cablo, which it is.
So just got Eden following Brown down the straight. Do expect there to be quite a big speed differential between these two. Yeah, look at him go! The speed that he's closing, he was nowhere near at the start of the straight, and then all of a sudden, as we come towards the end of the straight, he's dived to the inside. And he's going to have this one done quite easily in turn 8.
I'm telling you, buddy, that Mustang's got its own DRS.
It's further back. I think that was a move from Handley to keep his position on Van Volten.
Big save there from Sargent, but he's all out of shape. Colpitts has said thank you very much. Townsend not quite close enough, but look at Sargent, he's trying to fight back Colpitts. Colpitts got a great inside line there, pushes him out. So Sargent did a big drift on the fast right-hander, so it cost him a place to Colpitts.
He's not looking too well, is Sargent. The car's just snapping on him that little bit. But it doesn't matter, if he can ace his traction here with a bit of slipstream, there might be a challenge coming into turn 1. There's plenty of hungry drivers behind you that will happily take this off you. Oh, as we see in the background, Townsend going very deep, and now he's going to go wide, and he comes back across the back, and that's 2 cars. And that's him and Grafe. Now Grafe ailing off the track. He has managed to regain it without taking any damage other than the contact. But
oh, sorry, buddy. I think we've got Clayton and Grace down the straight here. I think Grace has just let Clayton past. Maybe we missed a memo somewhere, but Clayton has just overtaken Grace like he was just stationary.
So they've been saving a little bit of performance in his tyres.
So now you've got Sargent trying to gun down the BMW down the straight. Has he got enough against Colpitts? I don't think so. Not quite. Slightly further back, we've got Townsend.
So I've gone a little bit further up. I've got Grace. He's within just a couple of tenths of Clayton here. I think they've only just overtaken, but he's calling straight back at him. And also I've got
just
Sharp.
in front. Yeah, Sharp. Wow.
Dives to the inside. He's not fully ahead yet. He's got still a bit of work to do. But no, it looks like Malotti has backed that out to that one in turn 2. Maybe just didn't quite get the turn in. And that sends Sharp after Leica. What can he do? He's showing great pace to catch up to Malotti.
G. Brown and Eden slightly further down. A bit close into turn 1. Just had a grunt of the Mustang doing well to solidify his place at the moment in P12.
So yeah, Brown really looking for a setup here on Eden. We know that Brown does not have the straight line advantage that Mustang has, so he has to do everything within his skill set to get maximum speed out the last corner before the straight. Pick up a slipstream, don't let it go, and just see if you can get some free distance closed in on this back straight. But it looks like Eden has also got the slipstream from Trotman ahead, so it doesn't look like Brown is again that much advantage from that arrangement. We've just gone a bit further down the group. We've got Townsend and Critelli side by side. That's Townsend being overtaken by Critelli. That's another position for him. Brings himself inside the top 20. Townsend goes a little bit wide. Is this an attempt to do a cutback? It's not a bad one. Put himself mostly level. But then looks like Critelli has seen that off for the meantime. It's like Leica has put the hammer down. He's just starting to take a bit more time out of Sharp behind. But I can't help but think that Grace has got a real opportunity here. He's been very, very controlled. Oh, but ahead of them, Malotti lost the rear a little bit. But I think this is Clayton's best opportunity. He has such a great drive through there, and here he goes. He's basically on the bumper of Grace. Can he find his way to the inside? No, Grace has it well covered. He pulls out the slipstream. He finds the slipstream again. Can he find the inside when he gets to the corner? This is the key. As they dive out into the distance, we're going to find them head on here. They're so evenly paced on the straights in equal air. Maybe worth a bump draft. Brown still in the surge. Oh, further behind. That was Hanley and Van Vlotten. Side by side, Van Vlotten has lost that one out. He got sent wide to try and negotiate track limits. Behind them, Colpitts chasing down Sargent. Battle that's been going on for a while, but then looks like Colpitts just had a bit of a moment there, and this has invited DeRick into the picture. DeRick has found his way to the outside. Maybe he does well to set his braking point nice and late. Forces DeRick a long way around. I'm going to go back to Clayton and Grace again, because I said Clayton has had so many opportunities here to make an impact on Grace, but nothing has come to fruition for him. There's everything right in this section. And he sets himself up fantastically for the straight that's to come. And he's going to get right up underneath his bumper once again, do the slipstream, do the pace of that Aston Martin. But there just simply isn't enough straight for the slipstream to really give Clayton enough an advantage to really dive up the inside of Grace. Not quite as close this lap as it was in previous.
Well, speaking of close, you've got DeRick, Colpitts coming up to the straight. I think Sargent may be just in touch if Colpitts can attach onto the back of the slipstream, but DeRick is right there behind the BMW.
Yeah, he looks like the most confident out of the three. I reckon we're going to see Sargent lose one, if not two positions here. DeRick pulls out. Are we going to get a Mika Hakkinen moment? I think we might.
I don't think so, buddy.
Oh, was it? DeRick forces him back behind Sargent with a little touch.
Sargent's struggling once again.
DeRick finds a way to the inside, dives into the corner first. Colpitts is going to try and keep up with this. Sargent tries to go a long way around, gets a bit of a snake at the end of that. How can Colpitts force him into another error?
So just up in front as well, so nice little battle. We've got G Brown trying to chase down Trotman.
So that's Eden that's just got past Trotman. So that's been going on for a long time. The Trotman has been holding diligently that P11 for a long time. Is now finally succumb to Eden. But will it be just as easy for Brown? So back to Colpitts again. Sargent struggling with the curbs, struggling with traction, struggling maybe even with a bit of stability. Colpitts is going to throw one down the inside into turn 3, and looks like Sargent outdid himself with his braking, got sent over the curb, and that's easy picking for Colpitts.
Slightly further up has Brown got the straight line speed on Trotman down the straight for P12. Should move out the slipstream. I think Trotman's still keeping pace with him.
Trotman taking the scenic route. He's still there, but Brown will have the inside line, which is pretty key for turn 9. And then just has to see off Hanley just behind. Brown has gone a little deep. Nothing too concerning though, he's found the traction.
So maybe I didn't see what happened, so I got confused which order it was, but say Grace is once again in front of Clayton. Sharp is still just about hanging to just under a second to Leica. It was 9 tenths, it's now just about 8 tenths. So he is making inroads to him.
The Trotman seem to continue to be the cork in the bottle with those that are still stuck behind him. So here we go. Round whatever of Clayton versus Grace. As close as he's been with the slipstream, with all the traction that he set up for himself, with all the right lines and all the tools at his disposal. Grace finds just the right time to go to the inside and stop Grace, but no, Grace has done it. Clayton has got past him. Just the last moment, maybe with a bit of a dummy, that's how he's got him.
Quite possibly, buddy.
Just swap cameras as that happened. Sharp making no impact on Leica since making the move on Malotti. Now Trotman now also overtaken by Hanley. And he's got Van Vlotten,
Van der Wall and Colpitts going at it. Half a hundredth nearly down the straight when they went past the time line, but Colpitts has got the inside line. Boys corner making Van der Wall work for it. He's still there.
And then Wall's taking a wide line to try and get a strong exit. The Colpitts hand on half bad there. So further back, we've got Townsend and Gray fighting tooth and nail. That's Townsend getting his rear out as he comes around the penultimate turn. Takes a tighter exit line. That will compromise his traction. Now Grafe is going to put all his Mustang powers to the floor and try and get past Townsend around the outside into turn one. He does get it. Now another Aston Martin in a fight is Critelli, who's making quick work of Sargent here. Now Brown, as close as he's been to Eden, this is valuable points for him from P12 to P11 if he can make it. No, just not enough power in that Honda. Sargent trying desperately to get that move back on Critelli, but not looking likely at this stage. With the car ahead of Van der Waal providing slipstream for Critelli. We go forward to Brown on Eden. In the tight and twisty sections, you do start to see the strengths of the Honda. And Brown gets a huge drive out the final turn. So much more nimble through that final turn and can get the power down that much quicker. But now the grunt starts to take effect again. Eden is going to see himself to the inside with the power and carry the speed through turns 1 and 2 and say, see you later, Brown. Forward to Malotti as we approach only a couple more laps left, 4 minutes 30. With Vermeulen also slowly building his gap even bigger. It was 8 seconds in the last race. It's currently 5.3 in this one. And Brown down the straight hasn't got hope or a prayer.
Oh, hello. Car 46. Ah, DSQ. Naughty.
We've got Sargent trying once again to get past Critelli. Critelli has got slipstream as well. And down around the outside. Yes, the mine ahead, that's Critelli. Trying to overtake Colpitts still. And behind that Sargent tried a different line to try and get a bit of release out of that corner. So maybe go on to challenge Fratelli. And Velocity doing a great job to try and close in Sharp. And Sharp does just seem to back
Yeah,
off.
I think Sharp
like
unfortunately may have made a mistake or ran out of puff. So he was 8/10 behind Leica, but I think Leica may have put his foot down, or Sharp made a mistake. He's now 2.2 seconds. But I mean, fair play to Travaglioli though. Is he just about holding on to Vermeulen? I mean, I know he's only 5.5 seconds in front, but it wasn't like it was the double digits as it was from race 1.
So Brown coming again. You can see the effects of the slipstream allow him to gain up close. Yeah, just simply can't even consider drawing up alongside. This car 84 with a drive-through.
Mr. Cablo in the Bentley.
It's not been a great night for Mr. Cablo.
Well, as his team name says, slow and furious. So
we've got Critelli and Van der Waals side by side into turn 8. Looks like the McLaren is going to have this one though. Status quo resumes for now. Brown doing a very, very good job just to hold this sort of gap that not most of the grid has been doing. But he needs to start thinking about translating it into something usable. Brown flicks to the outside. And that was all she wrote for that lap.
So Melotti was closing in to Sharp in sector 1 quite nicely before the back straight. But I think Sharp got quite a bit of a better run out onto the back straight, so Melotti didn't quite get the run that he wanted to try and make something useful of his last few seconds of his last attack lap.
So Vermeulen on his presumably last lap is just experiencing a little bit of traffic. He can navigate this without any drama and go on to win the race. He's fought so hard to maintain a gap for. And that should be leader finishes the race.
Leader on final lap. I think he crossed the line with 1 second, well, as it was 0-0. Sorry, 0-0, not 0-0. wrong sport.
Everyone's watching their football today.
Well, you never know. I mean, FIA is pretty much the same, right? No, I think pretty sure Vermeulen did cross the line before the checker flag was able to be waved.
We've got Brown chasing down a Ford barge, and we've got Zero NSX of Sharp chasing down an Aston Martin rocket ship. But on board with Brown, now coming down the first straight, he's elected for the outside of Eden. I would say, Retro, I think this track really does, like, there's not really many of the corners where an outside line really suits you or would give you any sort of advantage.
Well, I mean, it all depends on the traction zones, really, buddy. I mean, yes and no, unless you want to get washed out being on the outside. But I mean, some of them I can see being more favourable, but I mean, I don't think I have the skill to test that theory, to be honest.
So it looks like Brown was originally intending on setting a move up to overtake Eden on this straight, but since then, since it didn't quite work out, it looks like Hanley has closed up that a little bit more as well.
Yeah, it's not a sandwich I'd want to be in if I was Gordon. So the mighty Mustang and the the Beamer boat behind him.
As we have
Faint a move.
Jasmine Vermeulen finishing the race in P1 once again. Travaggioli doing a fantastic job to keep that gap down in P2. We've got Leica, who at one point did have good pressure from Sharp, but saw it off and is going to come home for a third in class. We've got Sharp, previously mentioned, in P4, and it's great to see that Melotti and Clayton were both closing these guys in towards the end. It does look like Clayton gave Grace the position on the line. Maybe with it into team. Oh, they are both red line racing after all.
Oh wow, team orders maybe.
And he said maybe try and get Melotti, and then if you can't, give me the position back. As we see Jay Sharp come home for a tier win, as with Eden as well. Well raced, he did really, really well. And then Brown, they tried everything to get past Eden, but his car, I think, just let him down. Handley comes home for a P2, Trotman for a P3 in class, down P14, and then second and third in the silver class beat Derick and Colpitts. Got Van Vlotten, who also seems to be limping towards the line here. Yep, he's just limping. So I suspect this is a man who's run out of fuel. As is Sargent. A couple of drivers here, clearly underfueled.
Yeah, I think that extra lap at the end completely threw them off.
Yeah, and Robert, so Sargent has just about made it. Van Vlotten. Oh, this is painful to see. I don't think he's got anybody else to really be concerned about, though.
Oh,
As the rain has just started. Most of them have just managed to avoid that. As we're going to painfully watch Van Vlotten try and limp towards the line to round out the last of the on-track finishes. As Mr. Townsend has jumped into the chat with a wow. That big move, big crash.
Fair, Vlotten wasn't classified as finishing. He's still rolling at 9 mile an hour to the pit. Or sorry, the start line. I don't think he's got it. He's doing 4 mile an hour.
No, I think he's gone. Ah, disappointing. I think it's actually rolling back now. And on that note,
0.1.
On that note, we've called conclusion to this race. Obviously, we've just been through your movers and shakers, your finishes. I suspect we're going to get admin in here very shortly to go over what they experienced in the race. Specifically, Gedman just seemed to be absolute odds with the back of Brown. Sorry, absolute odds at the back of Eden's car. Good to hear, Mr. Townsend. But as we wait for our usual drop-ins at the end, we'll thank you all very much for joining with the stream. It's been wonderful having you. Obviously, as we've said previously, if you do want to get involved, you can do as a full-time or as a reserve. Reserve is a great way to get slowly into racing by dropping in as of when you can, or as a full-time, making sure that you're here from start to finish off the season and locked in for all the points available. Make sure you like, subscribe to the stream, share it with somebody you love, share it with somebody you hate. Like the channel as well, not just the stream, so you can keep up to date with everything that we have on offer, and obviously hit that bell button, and that will keep you pinged and ready to join in as soon as the stream starts. Obviously, FRL is your place for all things sim racing, whether it be iRacing, Assetto Corsa, Assetto Corsa Competizione, F1, WRC, you name it, we have you covered. And if you're already here, you can join the Patreon for as little as £3 a month, which gives you priority access to reserve slots like you've seen Karuna take advantage of this evening. You can safeguard a race number that is dear to your heart, and yeah, you've got all sorts of special perks, even more than we do as commentators, which is awfully irritating to us, but fantastic for you. So yeah, so it was a fantastic, entertaining race this evening. I think a lot more overtakes in race 2 than there was race 1. I think maybe people were just trying to keep their noses clean. The fact that Vermeulen did manage to gap the field that little bit more in race 1 as he did to race 2 really shows how everybody really put their head down that little bit more in race 2. Any highlights for you from that one, Retro?
I mean, it's been an absolute sensational sprint Sunday. There's so many things to look at and consider. I mean, we have all the spins, the winnets and the binnets. I mean, we forgot to mention them.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much action to really cover. We had to move on from one thing to another almost instantaneously. There was that incident. The only one we really saw really was De Rick sending an admin into the Shadow Realm, which I'm assuming we are going to get reviewed before we return next week.
Well, hopefully not us personally get reviewed for it, because we didn't do it. We witnessed it. Just because we're a witness and we say we did it.
As we're just seeing some of the comments in the Discord, that Jasmine went for a full downforce setup today, which is insane to think that the amount he pulled away with all that downforce. Like is saying that he'd had a week off for his pace, which I think is a bit dramatic. He finished P3.
I mean, I'd love to do that, you know.
You can join Super Sprint Sunday.
Have a week off per pace and still have P3. If I have a week off, I'd still be plumb last like always.
Well, that's only your lap 1, mate, when you've inevitably had yourself speared by somebody because you've turned in too much.
I mean, if you're doing the spearing like you did on Zandvoort, mate, then we're going to have issues.
And then also in our Discord, we've also got Harvey admitting to a murder.
There's been a murder.
There's been a murder.
As our admins would say.
Yeah. So we're going to give them just a few more minutes to come and join in if they so wish. Because it's they were well involved in the battles. They both Brown, Gedman, Sharp, all had an awful lot to.
And don't forget Richards as well. Forgot to fuel for race 1, and then got a drive through in race 2. Don't forget that.
Oh no! I mean, there's a man who I wouldn't mind paying a penny for his thoughts. Because I'll probably get a refund because they contain expletives. But no, thank you everyone so much. It's been an absolute pleasure seeing so many of you obviously watching this evening. It's all very much appreciated. Obviously, everything we mentioned in terms of liking and sharing, it all goes towards helping streaming the wonderful work that you'd like to think we do, but obviously the administrators and owners of the league as well, who do a great job keeping everything running all behind the scenes, 7 days a week. It's sometimes a thankless task to put on racing, but we're very grateful for them to have this opportunity to come and commentate over the racing this evening. But with that, with no sign of any admins coming to join us, we're going to call it a night for this evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all next week, same time. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Bye.